The alarm rang at 5 a.m., long before the sun had even considered rising. Ava didn't hit snooze. She never did. Because for her, every minute mattered. She sat up slowly, her body heavy with exhaustion, but her mind already racing through the long list of responsibilities waiting for her. For a brief moment, she allowed herself to close her eyes again, not to sleep, but to gather strength. Just one more day, she whispered to herself. That had been her promise every single day for the past 7 years. Ava was a working woman, a single mother, a caregiver, a provider, and above all, she was a fighter. Life hadn't given her the luxury of choosing one role. She had to be everything, all at once. Her small apartment was quiet, except for the soft breathing of her 6-year-old son, Noah, sleeping peacefully in the next room. He was her reason, her purpose, her strength, and sometimes her only weakness. She walked into his room and gently brushed his hair away from his forehead. "I'll make today better for you," she whispered, even though he couldn't hear her. That promise, unlike many others, she never broke. Ava's life wasn't always like this. There was a time when she believed in fairy tales, a time when she thought love would be enough. She had married young, full of dreams and hope. She believed she had found someone who would stand beside her through everything. But life had a different story planned. The love she once trusted turned into silence, then distance, then absence. And one day, without warning, he left. No explanation, no closure, just a void. She was pregnant at the time. Alone, broken, terrified, that night she cried more than she ever had before, not just for herself but for the life growing inside her. "How will I do this?" she whispered into the darkness. There was no answer, only silence, but somewhere deep inside her a quiet voice rose again. "You will." The journey wasn't easy, it was never meant to be. Ava worked through her pregnancy, ignoring the pain, the fatigue, and the whispers of judgment around her. "Single mother," people said, "life will be hard. You won't manage." She heard it all and she carried it all, but she didn't stop. Because stopping wasn't an option. Noah was born on a rainy evening, and in that moment everything changed. When she held him for the first time, something inside her healed and something stronger was born. "I don't need the world," she whispered, tears in her eyes. "I just need to be enough for you." And from that day forward she was. Years passed, but life didn't get easier. If anything, it became more demanding. Mornings started before sunrise. She prepared breakfast, packed Noah's school bag, got him ready, and rushed to catch the bus to work. Her job wasn't glamorous. She worked as an office assistant in a company where no one really noticed her. She handled files, answered calls, ran errands, stayed late, came early, and still it never felt like enough, because bills didn't wait, rent didn't wait, life didn't wait. There were days when Noah would ask questions she wasn't ready to answer. "Where is my dad?" She would pause, forcing a smile. "He's far away. Will he come back?" Ava's heart would break silently every time. "I'm here," she would say softly, "and I'm not going anywhere." And that was the truth. At night, when Noah slept, Ava allowed herself to feel the exhaustion, the loneliness, the fear. She would sit by the window, staring at the city lights, wondering if life would ever slow down, if things would ever get better. Sometimes she cried. Sometimes she didn't have the energy to, but every morning she got up again. Work wasn't kind to her either. Her boss expected perfection. Her colleagues underestimated her. In promotions, they always went to someone else. "You're not leadership material," one of them once said. "You're too emotional." Ava didn't respond, but that night those words echoed in her mind. Too emotional, too weak, too much, too everything. She looked at herself in the mirror and asked quietly, "Is that who I am?" For a moment, doubt filled the room. But then, "No," she said firmly, "that's not who I am. I am someone who survives. I am someone who keeps going. I am someone who doesn't quit." That night, something shifted. Ava didn't just want to survive anymore, she wanted to grow. She started small. After putting Noah to sleep, she began learning new skills online, typing faster, understanding basic management, improving communication. At first it felt impossible. Her mind was tired, her body was exhausted, but her will unbreakable. Day by day she improved, slowly, silently. Months turned into a year, and one day an opportunity appeared. A position opened in her office, higher pay, more responsibility. Everyone applied, including Ava. People laughed. "She doesn't stand a chance. She's just an assistant." But Ava didn't let their voices define her. She walked into that interview with quiet confidence, not because she knew everything, but because she knew how far she had come. When she got the call, she couldn't believe it. She got the job. For the first time in years, she felt seen. Recognized, valued. She held the phone tightly, tears falling freely. "I did it," she whispered. "No, we did it," she corrected herself, thinking of Noah. Life didn't magically become perfect. There were still struggles, still long nights, still moments of doubt, but something had changed. Ava had changed. She no longer saw herself as someone trying to survive. She saw herself as someone building a future. Her bond with Noah grew stronger. They laughed more, shared stories. "Dreamed together?" "Mom," Noah once said, "you're like a superhero." Ava smiled. "No, I'm just your mom." But deep inside, she felt something warm, because maybe, just maybe, that was the same thing. Years later, Ava stood in a larger office, her own office. She had climbed every step with effort, tears, and determination. She had faced rejection, exhaustion, and loneliness. And yet, she was still standing, stronger than ever. One evening, as she returned home, she saw Noah, now older, waiting for her with a smile. "You look tired," he said. "I am," she replied, smiling back. "But I'm happy." He hugged her tightly, and in that moment everything felt worth it. That night, Ava stood by the window again, just like she used to. But this time her reflection looked different. Not because life had been easy, but because she had become stronger than her circumstances. She placed her hand on the glass and whispered, "You didn't give up." And deep inside, that same quiet voice replied, "You never were meant to." Ava's story wasn't about perfection. It wasn't about luck. It wasn't about having everything figured out. It was about showing up every single day, even when it was hard, especially when it was hard, because strength isn't loud. It doesn't always look powerful. Sometimes it looks like a tired woman waking up before sunrise, choosing to try again, choosing to care, choosing to fight, and choosing to believe that better days are worth the struggle. And somewhere out there, someone listening to her story might whisper the same words she once did. Just one more day, and that is where everything begins.